Okay. On the other hand,
Come on, Scruff, you'll come up here. God, it's so cold here. Is it cold where you are?
Yeah, it's pretty chilly. Let's see, it's 43 right now here. So
Yeah, but here it's like windy too, and it's it's actually beautiful, but it's cold. That's
it's
all.
pretty
It's just-
chilly. Let's see, it's 43 right now. Yeah, so there we go. And listen to ourselves repeating our conversation. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm here with Sharon and Miss Art Lady. And hi, Marcy. We won't mention the name, but Marcy can remember this person, maybe that we were talking about earlier. I won't mention the name because there's no point to it. Anyway, good morning, everybody. We're here for the reading of Ken Wapnick. Let me get it open here. Healing the Unhealed Mind. And Sharon and I have been reading this book for some time. And it's always a pleasure to share the time with Sharon. So here we go. I'm opening that. And then I'm going to come over and take care of stuff here and gather because Ken is still playing over there.
Marcy's here too. I called her. I wanted to remind her because I don't know. The days are running away with me because I'm working more than I have in a while.
Yeah.
But she's here too, so I wanted her to be able to join.
Well, there we go. So,
and Robert's here.
Okay. So can we see our book? Can you see our book?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I do see it.
Do you want to
Yeah, you want me to go we came into the world for two reasons?
Yes.
We came into this world for two reasons. As egos, we sought to prove that we are sick. Separation is the reality. God is wrong and we are right, and that we are innocent victims of the world around us. As right minds, we sought to learn that we are wrong and God is right. The ego has us come here to be further immersed in the prison of its thought system, expressed in the prison of the body. The Holy Spirit, also in our minds, helps us to see the world as a classroom in which we can choose a different teacher who teaches us the lessons that help us leave the prison entirely. So that is our simple choice, the world as prison or classroom. So that's really good because that's the choice in every moment, really. Do I want to put myself back in prison by believing my thoughts? And if I do believe my thoughts, it becomes a classroom on what I'm believing about myself. And it's always about what have I abandoned in myself? Where have I shown up in lack? How does lack show up in my world? Because prison is just a believing anything that I feel. You want to share anything, Lynn, Marcy, or Robert?
Yeah, I love what you're saying already. Yeah.
Okay, we all have our lessons. The ego speaks first. And that's real important. That's where the pause comes in, right? So, and the ego is always wrong, and the Holy Spirit is the answer. Why? Because there's nothing here. We choose to be born into families that breed separation and naturally then reinforce the ego thought system. We have to deal with our bodies as we grow up and mature. And that solidifies the belief in the reality of the change. We become educated and learn about a world that does not exist. We graduate or not, have families or not. Yeah, you know what Robert just wrote? Lack is thinking, I need something I don't already have. You know, lack comes from, like, if I'm watching a really good movie, the ego will say, well, why don't you get yourself some Cheerios or get yourself some popcorn? Because the conditioned mind only wants more. And the more is always a distraction. It's always trying to pull us out of heaven and into hell, right? We choose to be born into families that breed separation and naturally then reinforce the ego thought system. And the families that we chose can't be an accident either. You know, I think as the one son, we all have a sense of our story. Even when we're children, there's something in us that knows that we're play acting. Because let's pretend is a large part of childhood. I spent this past weekend at my son in in Philadelphia, and my grandson Noah is 3, and well, no, he's 3. He was 3 in July, and he's pretending all the time. I mean, like, and what's funny is sometimes he tells us what he's pretending, but he thinks it's real. And isn't that just, you know, if we really look into memory, which we're doing anyway, because without memory, we would never have an ego. Ego is built completely on memory. And that's really something to sit with. You know, without memory, we wouldn't have an ego.
Exactly. And as we as children look as parents, look what we do. We try to make memories for our children.
Right.
Like, oh, Christmas, my children, Christmas is a great memory. They remember all the things that we
I
did.
remember how great we were. After all, we better be great.
Yeah. So, or Halloween, we just had Halloween. We spend the entire thing of Halloween making memories, taking pictures of our kids in their costumes, um, going to parties and having activities that become as a culture. It becomes a part of our cultural identity. And so all these memories that we're making are really identity that we're reinforcing through making up all these activities and stories. And so even the idea of Christmas or the idea of Hanukkah or Halloween or whatever thing that you uh, celebrate is really telling your children, this is who you are, this is who we are, this is who you are. You were a Jewish child, and this is your holiday, and we remember all the holidays when we get together, and we have all the traditions, and all of those things are meant to build a identity into us as a culture. So our cultural identity is based on all these fabricated uh uh celebrations, right? It's all because really honestly, who what ever made those holidays really? Christmas, as most people know, who have any idea of anything in reality, Jesus wasn't born in December.
No, it's a story that's playing. Yeah.
Right.
Your fathers and grandfathers celebrated.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
So
we've made all this up, and we really feel as humanity that this is our real life and that our memories are important, and we want to be remembered in a way that I would say good person, a good friend, a good mother, a good sister. That's really the guilt. By covering up our guilt, we are so when we're in form and think we are these people, we are really in guilt. You can't not be, because it's a 100% thought system, ego or spirit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even help us. Like here he says, we all have our lessons. The ego speaks first. Now, getting to the lessons are the gift, because every lesson is showing us a call for love. When a lesson comes up, we're getting these patterns that are coming through, and the pattern replays itself, maybe in a different form, but it's the same pattern. So these are our lessons, and we want to learn what's not love is a call for love, because love can never deny love.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And these traditions that we think
Right, it's 100%. Yeah, the ego thought system is 100. You can't be just a little pregnant in the ego thought system. You're either spirit or you are the person, and you are laced in guilt, laced in all impurities, because it's not our natural. It's not our natural state. Without our natural state, we are completely a dream figure that's no different than a cartoon.
right. And no day is different than any other. And no moment is different than any other.
Right.
The reality of it is, it's all the same thing.
It's all the
So,
same.
I know that you probably, growing up as a Jewish child, had a feeling when other children were celebrating Christmas.
I
When
got to celebrate Christmas. I grew up my father was a fun man, and he grew up in an Italian neighborhood mostly. So we were always a minority. He was really, and where he grew up, there was very few Jewish people. In fact, there was a lot of anti-Semitism there too, but not where he grew up, because it was African American. And it always was, at least that was common back then, that the African American identified with Jews, because the story about them and the Jews are the same. We are not equal. And it's just this story that we're speaking to. But my father made Christmas so big for me, Lynn, that my kids had it. So my Jewish religion, because my mother grew up very different than my dad. My mother would only really want Hanukkah and all this other stuff, but she went along with it as long as we didn't do the Jesus stuff. And then years later, I told her I love Jesus. I was just saying it in passing, and she called my sister up, flipping out, saying, "Oh my God, she's going to become Christian." I said, "No, Mom, that's the Christian. That's the course." And I try to explain to my siblings that Jesus is just a thought of love. It has absolutely nothing to do with the person, but we are drawn to the form. So right away we believe, okay, that was Jesus. You remember Jesus growing up. You know what he taught us. And the truth is that, there's a book called Jesus Calling that my sister-in-law bought Cliff, and she reads it every day.
Yeah.
So I read it, and it was so in sync with so much wisdom that I started to think, well, the higher wisdom must come into these books too.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. But that's where they come from.
Yeah,
The minute
because I
you
see that
invoke,
now. Right. There's always this higher wisdom is in us. There's I'm sure you've heard this before, the extraordinary and the ordinary. The extraordinary is the God, the I am. And then the ordinary are all these ordinary things that we believe are real, that we've made up. So you've heard that saying, right? In the ordinary, there is the extraordinary. Have you heard that, Lynn? I wonder what happened to Lynn. I can't hear you. Did I lose you? I lost her.
You may have disconnected from one of the computers.
Do you hear her, Robert?
No.
no, I was talking to my daughter on the phone. I'm sorry. She called
Oh,
to
okay.
ask me about the election. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I didn't hear,
that's pretty.
if you were
Probably
asking me
did.
questions, I didn't hear it.
Okay, I forget what I asked now. I I forget. Do you remember anybody?
I'll hear it on the replay. So
You know, it's so great. Oh, we talked about Judaic. Okay. So what I really said was that Christmas was a huge holiday for me. Like my father made sure that we weren't allowed to get a tree, not ever. My mother said, okay, they can have Christmas with the blow up Santa, but they can't have a tree. So my first tree was with my husband now, because he wasn't brought up, he's not Jewish, but he's not Christian either. He's Unitarian. He that's what he celebrates, which is what we celebrate, really, because there's no specifics in it. But as far as the holidays, Halloween's another one that was an extremely important holiday for me. Like, it was like, I heard you talking about it. You know, I went from Altoona to Philly because Andrew and I always made a big fuss over Halloween. To me, every holiday gives us the sense of our true happiness, because if we're thinking of others and getting them presents, if the belief in there is, well, I hope they like me, I hope they care about me, then you're in the ego. But if you could say, oh God, I love to give. When I give, I receive. It's a magnet. And that is the truth too.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's
Hanukkah bush, she calls it. Yeah. My mother couldn't do that. You don't know, she grew up really like my mother's family, they were from Russia. They escaped and all that other stuff. There was a lot of trauma there. But the stories are just fascinating because they all lead to the present moment, which is all that's here. And look at the Matrix, how we have lived through a Matrix that's nothing but a movie. How about
exactly.
that?
Exactly. So, okay. So do you want me to read?
Well, you have to move on, because whatever our means of support, we make the body real as well as underlying thought of. Yeah, I read that, I think.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, I thought you stopped in the middle of this paragraph, but
I could have. I
okay.
could have. So
Okay.
we become educated and learn about a world that does not exist. And that is what I want to look at. That's what I do now. And I'm subbing for their teacher. And they're learning about a world that doesn't exist. Now sit with that, Sharon.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It really is.
I mean, we are insane. What we've tried to do in this world is just so insane, just to hide guilt. And, isn't it so obvious, Lynn, now how much guilt is the stopper of everything?
Oh
And if
gosh.
I do feel I'm this person, I am so back into, if I forget that I'm mind and the decision maker, I'm in hell.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, we are.
And
Absolutely.
life here in the ego thought system is pure hell.
It is. But
But that's why
but
we're drawn to pleasure, because we want to get out of hell. So it's like, give me the cookie. At least that'll make it go away.
yeah, but we could be in pure heaven at the same time. And that's what Jesus is teaching us in the Course of Miracles. The real world is what we're seeking. And it's a
Right,
world that we look at without judgment. And that's the problem. It's not that the problem is my decision to judge, my decision to look and
right.
say, I like this and I don't like this. I like
Yeah,
this candidate, but I don't like that candidate. I like this law, but I don't like that law. I like this whole alike and not liking is the problem. Once we stop
as soon
that,
as we say, I don't know, then we're not interpreting anymore, and then we're not projecting.
exactly.
The interpretation is the problem.
Exactly.
Well, if I
So,
don't know, I'm free.
exactly. Yeah.
Dove said he did that early on. I have now, but I realize now more than ever, I really don't know.
Well, and you know what I realized yesterday? I don't even believe I'm the person that I I think I am. I never
Right.
have. Have you ever believed that you were Sharon? Have
Oh
you
no, I
ever
think I
looked at
did
yourself in the mirror and
on a
said,
dream
"This is me"?
level. Just think how crazy that is. We're trying to improve. this character all the time. I mean, the ego's dream is the self-improvement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because it's never happy.
Right. Because the self is not the self that we see doesn't match what we know we are.
Mm-hmm.
When you look in the mirror and you say, who is that? Because
Right.
it sure doesn't look like me. Does it look like you when you look in the mirror? Do you look
No,
in the
I'm
mirror
not
and
the
say,
same
that's
person.
me?
I mean, if you're looking on a form
On
level,
any level, on any level.
right? But I mean,
Sharon,
even on
when
a
you
form
look in
level,
the
though,
mirror on any level, do you say, that is me?
no, I really don't.
No, because it looks like not you. And so, oh, I have to fix it. I have to change it. I have to put makeup on it. I have to do something with the hair. I have to do something with the body. I have to do something because that does not look like me.
We really have had a madman in our mind
Yeah,
forever,
it's not
forever.
me. And I realize that. I have never
Yeah, but I
looked at
mean,
myself.
even people like I used to be like when I first got to the course, I would look at the fact that every picture period of my development, I look different. Why?
Yeah,
Because it's all projection. I'm projecting a camera figure. Lighting could have been different. I could have gained weight. It could have been a couple years before. It's all of that. It's like we have duped ourselves into a film simply from belief, simply to just lie to ourselves and not say, like, hey, wait a minute. We don't have anything to be afraid of here. We're
yeah,
all free. Knock it off, everyone, because we're free.
yep, yep. And even more as I get older and I look in the mirror, I'm like, that never looked like me. That's why I always wore makeup. That's why I always colored my hair. That's why I was always on a diet. That's why I was always, you know, trying to force the body to look like what I thought I looked like. But I don't even know what I really look like. To me, from since the time I was a child, I, in my imagination, looked like a boy. I looked like a young man. In my imagination, I looked
And
like a
what do
young
you
man.
know? Like, here's the thing. Like, I went to Andrews, I told you this weekend, and his neighbors only want to be called they and them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying to me, Mom, because I said, those pronouns are hard for me to, because I totally opened myself up to this anybody that's transgender to me is equal to everybody else. I don't even understand why anybody cares except to love people, to talk about them. I think it was probably just but the they and them confused me. So Andrew said it's confusing, but if you just say they said that, I said, but then if that was talking to a couple days, which they would I have picked? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's we would have differentiated and made them different. And that's
Right.
what happens. When you say they, it makes it all the same.
And in a
When you
way, so he said, Andrew, he said, if I was young, I would probably have conformed to that. He's like a very open thinker. So he
right.
probably would have. But the thing is, he's so open, yet he got me into all this stuff when he was a senior in high school, with Carl Jung and Herman Hesse, all those books, Lynn.
Yes.
And so, but he doesn't want to do the course because he really likes his ego. I mean, I really
Well,
believe
I
he
wouldn't say,
likes.
no, I would not say that because he really likes his ego. I wouldn't say that. That is
Well, that's like a
that's a
forecast that I
condemnation
shouldn't
right
say.
there.
Right.
That is assuming that you know something about him that you really
Right,
don't.
and I don't. But here's the thing. I think I do because he's my kid, and that's stupid. But I know that's what I do if I realize that I'm seeing my kid for the first time every time I see them. Without a story, then they are completely clean, and I have nothing. But I watch how the ego goes into a story about, I better tell John to do this, or I better tell John to do that. I wonder if this image concern is the genesis of wanting to trans. I don't know. I wonder if all this image concern is the genesis of having to trans. Oh, well, maybe. When you look at it like from that perspective, Robert, we are evolving into something. I think we're all seeing that, like this AI thing, you know, so many times, like my kids will say, I don't like the AI. Meanwhile, we are AI. We are AI. The only thing that's here is a microphone. There are no people here.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love what he put here. He said suspending judgment. I'm gonna boy, can he, Robert, you write as good as any kind of scholar for sure. Really do. You're gifted in writing.
All right, so let's continue. Let's see what
We
what
chose, okay, we all have lessons. So you
Oh.
would probably, and we keep going. And
Okay.
yeah, he's going here, Robert. He says, we're training to spirit mercy. That is so true, though. We don't have a sex, who we are. Why would we even want one? Just think of the freedom of just seeing everything as this space.
Exactly, exactly. Because there is no gender. There is
Just
no all every bit of it is false. None of it
Yeah,
is true at all.
none of
So
it. Yeah,
the whole idea that, I'm a woman, I'm this tall, I'm this, I'm that. I'm not. I'm none of those things.
right.
And neither is anyone else. So why would I support anybody else in any of that? To me, we're all the same. To me, there is no gender. I have never believed in gender my whole life. I have never believed.
That's luck if you have that. I believed in gender, that's for sure. Because
I
I was never, because the thing is, the conditioned mind doesn't believe it can be with a woman, my conditioned mind, physically.
You're
And that
talking
could
about
be
sex.
true.
You're not talking about anything else. That
But
is sex.
sex. Now,
That
why
has
is
something to do
that
with
when it has,
activities.
what?
It's an activity. It has nothing to do with. I never envision myself as a major league baseball player either.
Right,
So, but does that have any meaning? Does anybody care about that? No.
right.
We're talking about things that you do in the physical world that have no meaning whatsoever. We give sex a meaning. Oh, men and women, boys and girls, we're going to have a baby, all that kind of stuff. That's all a story. None of it
Mhm.
has any meaning. If you looked at the truth of who we are not gendered at all. There's no male souls and female souls. There's no trans souls. We are the one single thing that we are. And the split is saying I'm a this or I'm a that. But I'm not either of those things. This is what we have to take sex out of your mind, because that's where people get tripped up, because they think it's who's poking what into who's and that has it could be just as much as who's cooking dinner or who's driving the train. Doesn't matter. Those are all activities. They have nothing to do with what I am.
I'll
So
get into the story. I just want to say, because when these are just recent memories, but I married into a family in my first marriage where they thought women were very different. Like they just really looked as women more of an object.
yes,
And that's so true for like a 17-year-old girl. When I met my first husband, I was 17. What the heck did I know? I didn't know anything. I knew nothing about what I'd want. You know, when I say a healthy man is when he's not chauvinistic. He was so chauvinistic, my first husband. And it was actually a turn on for my mother-in-law to believe she should be subservient. And, and as I was growing, I was like, subservient? No, 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 no. Until I got to even equality in a male and female relationship, that a woman's work doesn't have to be a woman's. I mean, the story that I had as a young person was I did everything, but the breadwinner was my husband, but I did everything else, which was a lot when you have kids. And it's all about these titles that we give ourselves.
Yes.
Just so ridiculous.
Yes.
You know, the most important thing in this life is to grow. And that's what the course does. You grow. Because there's nothing else that's important, but your spirit, there's a growth. I don't know if we come here because we want these lessons so we can grow, or if we're already grown because we didn't leave heaven. So if we didn't leave heaven, then there is no problem. We never left. Bodies are sex objects. That was the point. In either direction, men to women. Oh yeah, bodies. Yeah, yeah. Bodies are a lot of things. Body is the home of guilt. It really is. Let's face it. If you eat too much, you're right away in guilt, right? Or what if you can't stop eating? You know,
Or what if you want to have sex with everybody you see? Or what if
right?
you
There are
don't
people
want
that
to have
might
sex
like
at
that.
all?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all of it, every single bit of it, any activity, any thinking, any thought. It's all wrong. None of it is right.
None of it. No. There's nothing right. It's kind of like here it's like reinforcing. I'm going to read this now. Wait, is it your turn or mine? I don't even
No, go
know.
ahead.
In your particular case, you became a veterinarian. I became a psychologist. Now, the interesting thing is the forgiveness of Jesus, the one in Ken's book. He tells the story truly that God picked him to be a psychologist. That God picked him. I mean, when you read his writings of these teachings or these things about him, this guy, when Dove always says it's no accident that he is the teacher for the course, you couldn't say that enough, because it was like almost a map that he was going to get this, and he was going to have a real high intellect so he could be a scholar, all of that. But now he's bringing it down to complete simplicity. And the truth is that the complete simplicity is it doesn't mean anything. I give it the meaning. Without an interpretation, you are free. That's it.
Exactly.
What am I interpreting? What the heck am I interpreting now? I mean, I'm right. After all, I'm an ego. I better be right or else I can't breathe. Right? Because it's so important to be right.
Exactly.
I have to keep
Exactly.
something out of the oven by 10:15. Anyway, so it says this is why we're insane. And then I talk to my children, and there's an expectation that they would be where I am, sometimes with their constant complaining. And then I go, no, 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 Sharon, you are where you are because you want to see them as people, because you want to stay in guilt. See them as they truly are. They're the Christ, and it doesn't matter whatever they tell you. They're both got heavy, both my boys, and they were always really small. So, when I say small, they were like me, like just small boned and all. And now they're overweight. But, why do I even get in there? Just see them as the perfect Christ and be done with it.
Right. I mean, what is overweight? What does that mean?
These two lessons healed a heart attack in the early 90s. And again in the these lessons are, like Andrew said to me the other day, well, I wanted to do the course, Mom, but I couldn't do, what do you mean it doesn't mean anything? I said, well, that's the problem. You thought about it. You're asked not to think about any of this ever, just doing it. Forget what it means. So he gave me a whole thing on that. But it's so funny, the resistance that I've had, that every human has, about being freaking free. I mean, freedom is huge in this mind. If you can be free and you're not in this hell where every little thing hurts and it tells you all day long how much your body hurts. That's what mine used to do.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you have to ask yourself, why does a meaning have any meaning to me? Why do I care?
Why do I care?
Just get out of it. You don't have to when you talk to your kids, nothing I see here means anything. Well, tell me what it means. You tell me what it means. And if you can tell me that it actually means something that is real, then I'll believe you. But once you start breaking it down, you recognize that it really has no meaning.
Right,
Except
but you have to
being
really break it
attached to
down
it.
because the intellect will get in there and say, "Come on, now you know, don't be stupid."
Right, but that's the intellect blocking
Right.
knowledge. It's
Yeah.
saying you can't know
You
anything
know, you're
about
not
me.
stupid, are you? Are you stupid?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You know, it's just so funny. We are just funny people.
Yeah. So I'll read. Okay, so
You know
we
what's
all
so
became
cool? We've climbed over so much to get where we are right now. I mean, just think of that. Like, well, at least for me, I was still stuck, and then I don't know what happened, but I have no idea. It was just probably a shift that I can't say, but it, whatever it is, there is nothing here that means anything. Nothing. And that's what we really have to like say thank you. Nothing means anything. So if I feel nauseous, how do I know it's even nausea?
right, right. It's just different than what I felt before. It's different than something, and
Right.
that's
I
what it
don't
is.
know
It's
what it is. Right.
different.
And you know, when you say I don't know what it is, like, because I have a habit of saying I'm nauseous because I get, you know, there's a belief in my mind I can get nauseous. Well, right then and there, I'm going to get nauseous because that's the power of my mind.
Yeah.
So, you know, take the responsibility for what it means. Take
Yeah.
all of
And
it.
gosh, doesn't always mean the same thing either, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't always
uh,
mean the same thing. It's yeah, no.
like I have
Mm-mm.
a headache. A headache doesn't mean the same thing to other people. You know, my
You
daughter had migraine. My son said, "Why? How could she have a headache for 4 days? That doesn't even make sense."
know.
Well, sense or not, baby, that's what it is. That's how she's experiencing it. It doesn't have to make sense. It just is her experience, and your experience, no experience makes sense. These are
Right.
all just ideas. So we're trying to make sense out of something that makes no sense. So I'll continue reading. Okay. Um, At some point, we say there must be another way, which means whether or not I consciously articulate, I am saying I want another teacher to deliver me from this prison and teach me the lessons I need to learn to go home. Then your veterinarian practice, which is focused on suffering and pain, at times death, becomes a classroom in which you realize the suffering, pain, and death that your eyes see are all part of the ego's lessons in separation. The entirety of the ego thought system is caught up here. We are sinful and deserve to be punished, a punishment that accumulates in suffering and death. All this reinforces the ego dream until we ask for help from another teacher and begin to see things differently. Now we realize that suffering is not of the body, and we reach this realization when we see our life and profession as serving a spiritual purpose. We recognize that suffering is a projection of the mind's guilt, and everything we see outside is its mirror or projection. Since we believe we are separated, we appear to deal with it as individuals. We are not yet at the point of saying everything is one. That occurs at the end when our minds are healed. We deal with that with what we perceive to be our unique classroom. Whether we do it as a veterinarian or therapist, we are involved with sickness, suffering, and pain. The lesson is to learn that external suffering is the mirror of the internal pain we all have, regardless of the species. We all suffer from guilt, including our patients, human and animal alike, and their families. Everyone here suffers. We are not alone and separated, and are more alike than otherwise. Indeed, we are the same, for all we all have the same split mind.
Right. Yeah, we all have the same split mind. That's really something to sit with too. Do you see how any of these books can give you contemplations that could last all day? Because the deeper we contemplate something, the deeper it goes in there.
And the more real it becomes for us.
Right, that's it. Yeah, like the Course, I would like to read it more now as a contemplation than as a book. Because you're no longer, when we contemplate, we're no longer in the intellect. We're going within us, where the truth of our being knows what we are, and we're waking it up all through our mind, all with all the chakras. How's that book coming with the one you do Sundays? Are you getting through it with the woman that you're with?
Oh yeah, see that? Let's see, I'll show you. We are on clairvoyance in the body. And so we're reading about how to strengthen clairvoyance. So yeah, it's coming really well. We're really enjoying it.
Yeah, you have all of it, right? If I look it up on the, because I sometimes that's a hard time for me, especially if I go to Unity every other Sunday, so I can't always get in there. But I want to, because I'm not as good as a reader as I am when I'm with other people. Even though, like, what I do a lot though is do audios. That's how the disability that this character has is auto processing. It doesn't go into it goes from my brain to my ear, and there's like a short. There's a short in it. So it's important that I listen audio wise, as I tell myself. Anyway, so
see, and for me, I can listen to it and it goes in one ear and out the other.
oh yeah, see, we're all so different.
Yeah, but if I read it,
I
I
have to do both.
participate.
No, I have to do both. I have to.
Yeah.
And what you just said is true, because it does go in one ear. But if you're contemplating it, you're no longer in that, teaching the mind. The mind is eating its food as soon as you contemplate.
Yeah.
The right mind.
So, okay. So we redefine suffering and realize we are no longer confronted with suffering that is so overwhelming that it is hard to make it through the day. See, this is what happens as we take it to the Holy Spirit and we learn to see it differently, then we redefine suffering. What I thought was suffering before, I realized is not suffering at all. It's just concentrating on certain, thing. Oh, I don't like this, or I do like this, or whatever. But the suffering isn't really happening. It's just in my mind, a story that I tell myself.
Yeah.
So we see our day as a classroom in which we learn that the external suffering is a mirror of the wrong decision everyone's mind has made. We use each day as an opportunity to learn that everyone calls out for help. The sick animals, the families that are upset, and we who are dealing with them. Everything can now shift, which means whether the symptoms disappear or not is irrelevant. On the level of form, we do whatever we can to alleviate suffering in any living thing, but remain aware that what we are really doing is withdrawing the rejections we have put on our patients. We demonstrate to them that we can make a right-minded decision, and so can they. This is accomplished simply by being defenseless and kind. We do what we can for the physical pain, but in our minds, we know that what we are really doing is alleviating the mind's pain, the real cause of the suffering. And so we're healing on two levels. We're healing on the level of the body, and we're healing on the level of the mind. And of course, the mind is the only level that really healing can take place, but the body can be soothed and comforted and healed in a way that is meaningful. And as I'm speaking, I'm reminded that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, we will be here with Glorian and a fellow named Yanni, who is going to talk to us about Ho'oponopono. So please join us Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, just one week a month, the first Wednesday of every month.
Are you going to tape it? Because I work.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're
Um,
going to tape it, that'll be perfect. I don't
yeah,
always work, but I'm for most of the time, it's getting where there's so many absences and they can't get enough teachers. So.
right. So yeah, so uh I believe that we will record it. We will not put it on YouTube because Yanni's one of those infinite way guys that doesn't like to put things out in public. So but I will record it. All right. So we're healing on both levels, the level of the mind and the level of the body. So after the mind is healed, question, just so I have something to look forward to in the future. When you are above all this and in that state, is there something in the course I can read that describes what we will experience and what we have to look forward to? And Ken says, yes. There are several beautiful sections that describe this, such as Where Sin Has Left, The Forgotten Song, and The Forgiven World. Question, so there's still a world out there? And Ken says, indeed, when you are above the battleground in your mind, everything is different. That is when the world looks different, not because the forms change, but because you have changed. When that change becomes permanent, you are in what the Course in Miracles calls the real world. Again, the world does not change externally, but your perception changes. From that healed perception, a peace will come that will never leave, and its gentleness will embrace all things, animate and inanimate alike. And so this is, I think this is probably one of the most important things that we can learn, is that when we forgive, we will see a world without sin. When we forgive, we will see what Jesus calls the real world. And the
Well, if we
real
say
world is the same world we're looking at right now, but without the guilt.
that's because of the way that the concepts are falling away. But as far as, I've had quite a few shifts. I still see a world, but it's so, and I'm still training my mind. So obviously, when we look at the real world, we no longer have concepts. Without concepts, there's no guilt because there is
Right.
no guilt. And the thing is, all we're doing all day long is talking to ourselves. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever. It's just you have to laugh because there's nothing else to do but laugh.
Yeah, exactly. But we're looking at it. But I'm going to close this down here and mark it because we're getting to the bottom of our hour.
Now,
But I
remember,
want,
we did two of these. Now, here's what I did want to ask you. Michael Singer, the Untethered Soul, but he also has a free book on there that is Living the Untethered Soul. And I thought, well,
uh-huh.
maybe you'd want to do it because it's free. You can just get it and we can read it together.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's something different and it is free.
Yeah,
The book is free.
yeah.
So it just
Uh,
gives us a little bit of a different, what Keith said a long time ago, I agree with. Sometimes it is good to bring another teaching in it because there's different angles of the truth, the way our thought system. Can the Course do it? Yes. The Course can do it all. But sometimes the specifics that we're getting into with what Michael Singer's talking about, it's the same as the Course. It's just a little more like Corinne stuff. You know what I mean? It's not as Course in
yeah,
Miracles is all about experience. It's really not about what it's saying so much as the practice. You got to practice it all the time.
yeah. Because, Michael Singer, I play every day. I think I listen to at least one, maybe two or three Michael Singer talks every day.
I
Uh,
think I think he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Whatever's coming through him is so brilliant, and he's a living demonstration of total unity.
yeah, he's definitely uh, he's definitely uh, um, awake. And if you read The Untethered Soul, you know that. If you read The Surrender Experiment, you know that. Um, he is definitely awake. And um, that's, the most, I mean, I would read him every day. I would talk to him. I would hang out with him. And he laughs a lot. He's so funny. It's so wonderful. I just adore him.
Yes,
He
and
had,
see if you can get it because I have it on my Kindle
uh,
and it was free. I mean, it was whatever it's called. I forget what it's called.
the surrender experiment.
No, that's not free. The one that's free is living.
I
Living.
know that. I have the surrender experiment and the untethered soul, and uh, on what do you call them? Um,
I know what you mean.
audio, audible.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, yep. So I'm just kind of looking for something.
Are you
Anyway,
looking for that particular book? Is that the one we're going to
no,
do?
I'm not. No, not right now. Because do you want to read that book now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because we used to read. You know whose we read? We read Bill's book, and then we
Right.
stopped, and we didn't have anything for this time. So I thought, well, that's good. Maybe we could do it together.
Yeah. We could definitely do that.
So you can bring it up now if you want, or you can put on Ken's stuff. You can't practice this enough. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's all the same as far as, that we benefit from this stuff.
Yeah, very definitely. So, but yeah, I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording or stop the YouTube. And thank you very much, Sharon.